What's up, Online Empire Academy? I'm so excited to be here. We are here with Jason Miles. He is the best-selling author of Instagram Power. Introduce
Hello.
yourself, man. I'm super excited.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
All right, it's nice to be here. Thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
It's going to be good. So, I mean, you were just sharing with me all the amazing stuff you've done. Go through some of that, because I want our audience to understand how awesome you are.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm honored to be here. Our journey is, I guess, interesting, maybe, to some people. I was in the nonprofit space for about 20 years, and in 2008, my wife had about 3 hours a day that she could spend making money from when my youngest daughter was in kindergarten, from like 9:30 in the morning till 12:30. And so we explored different options, and we thought, maybe online selling was something that could work. And so she started as a photographer, but she also was making doll clothes at what you might call a professional level. And all the moms in our, at like the dance classes and stuff like that, they would all freak out over my wife's stuff. Her name's Cinnamon. So Cinnamon stuff was insanely good. So we started auctioning it on eBay, and it immediately attracted a following. It was pretty cool. The photography stuff she didn't like because she realized she had to do selling, and it was just, and it was always evenings and weekends and stuff. We didn't like that. But the eBay thing started to take off. And so for about 18 months, we just created a brand and a following, and we sold at auction. And we'd only, we'd sell auction items. And the stuff started to go for hundreds of dollars. And so that was cool, but we had a business model that was really super tiny, and we just, it was limited by her ability to create stuff. And of course, I always wanted her to make more, and faster. And she was like, I can't do this. So in 2009, we started publishing her patterns, her designs, as digital patterns. And the beauty of digital goods became quickly apparent. Jim Cockrum is the online guru guy who really gave us that idea. His book, The Silent Sales Machine, was what we read that got that idea implanted in our minds. And so in September 2009, we had a couple hundred of her patterns given away for free. And then I think we sold 11. But it took off from there. And it was just within a few months that it had outpaced the old business model, just the eBay stuff. So, and then other designers started asking us to publish their patterns. Wow. And so what it turned into was a marketplace. You can go check it out if you'd like, called Pixie Fair, and PIXIEFAIRE.com. It's a marketplace of about 70 indie pattern designers that we've created. And our brand, Liberty Jane Clothing, is sort of like the anchor store. Huh. And so we've had about 1.2 million patterns downloaded now. Do about 40,000 a month, 45,000 a month, somewhere in that range. And this year we're on track to do over $600,000 of revenue. So it's scaled at a fun pace. Along the way, I started writing books. I have 3 books published with McGraw-Hill, and my wife has 1 book published with DK Publishing, which is the Idiot's Guide people.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, January 1st, 2014, I retired from my work in the nonprofit world and went full time with the biz. Wow. And actually now we've set up our own charity. So we have a company and a charity that we're scaling. And our goal is to have $1 million company and $1 million charity. And that'll be fun. So
what's the name of your charity?
So Powerful, SEW Powerful. And it's focused on a sewing cooperative that we set up in Zambia. And so, and we have about 40 ladies who have gone through the sewing program, the training there in the last year. And a smaller number of them, about 7, are part of what we call the ongoing cooperative. And 3 of them are on staff there that run it all.
Oh my goodness. How did you get connected with Zambia? That's a long ways away.
Yeah, so I worked with World Vision for 16 years.
Wow.
And part of my role was a major gift fundraiser, and I would lead trips internationally. And so I've been over, overseas a lot, lots of different places. And when we were in Zambia in 2009, I don't know how to describe it other than to say I found a place that was, in my mind and heart, a magical place. And it's the worst slum in Lusaka, Zambia. No people that are missionaries or charity workers go into it.
Yeah.
It's a rough, rough place. But when we went there, I was just like, I gotta be here. And we met this angel of a lady. She's like a Mother Teresa. She had no Western funders, no outside help at all. And we made it our mission to start helping her. And we've done that now for 6 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
that is amazing. How cool is that? Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
My family, my dad worked for Focus on the Family for a long time. So he was a part of fundraising all the time. And one of the things that I love is he instilled in us as kids of like going on the missions field and doing stuff outside of the box. And so to hear that you guys aren't just, having a business, but you also have, dreams and visions to benefit others is absolutely amazing and so my heart. So that's beautiful.
That's us, man. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, share with us. I know that, when we had talked about, our community, the Online Empire Academy. You guys are amazing at making something out of nothing. And we want to take you to the next level. And so we want to have James on to kind of teach you guys what some of the next steps to building your own community or building something bigger than yourself is. So can you take us through how to get repeat customers?
Yeah. I love the topic. So sure. Yeah. I think for us, the journey that we were on at the beginning in 2008 and then 2009 was really a journey about understanding people's buying patterns and what people would or wouldn't pay money for. Right. So, it was mesmerizing to us, and it still is, that people will pay $400 or $500 for a doll outfit. That's weird, right? I mean, it's, if you're not in that space, you think, what now? But, and some of our customers who buy those items from us today, because we still do that same thing. We still make stuff and auction it. Some of the customers are still our same customers from 2008.
Wow.
And what we found in the category was there's just two clear sections of the doll clothing category. There's the collector, and then there's the toy buyer. And so as soon as we knew that, we were on to something. It was like a little breadcrumb of info. And we're like, oh, wait, we know something. But that didn't mean that we could scale a business around it, because, it takes my wife, it'll take her a couple weeks to make one of these custom outfits. And you can go to libertyjaneclothing.com and see it all. You can see the photos of what it looks like. But so what we were discovering was that even though we had loyal followers, we didn't necessarily have a scalable model. We were building a powerful brand, but we didn't have a scalable system. And I think it was Tom Hopkins who outlined the 6 layers of customer loyalty. And I love thinking of it this way when we talk about getting a repeat customer. So his 6 are, number 1 is a suspect, right? So everybody listening to, this podcast, watching us, is a suspect, I suppose, for either buying my doll clothes patterns. Maybe you might be more interested in Instagram Power or Pinterest Power, those types of books. But anyway, so, and then a qualified prospect is the second layer, right? So when you've actually said, okay, wait, I know this person is interested in this topic. Yeah. And then the third layer is a one-time customer, right? So you get them to actually pull the trigger and go for your product. Now, if you're selling on Amazon as your platform, you really have to factor in that you're a commodity seller in a platform that's massive and understand the differences. But, so this doesn't necessarily relate straight to FBA sellers, but it's something to think about as you scale a business, right? Yeah. So a one-time customer is that third stage. And then the fourth stage is an ongoing customer, right? So ongoing customers, I mean, that's like, you know, the holy grail. And we found that with my wife's work, those ladies who are doll collectors, that's their lifelong thing. I mean, they were in it 5 years ago. They'll be in it from, you know, 5 years from now. So if you can create a product that appeals to them, you know, you've got a great shot at it. If it's a commodity, then obviously you've got a real challenge. And so your product strategy comes into play pretty dramatically. And then so the fifth layer is an advocate, somebody who says to their friends, family, and online community these days, hey, you should check out, you know, so-and-so or their work, right? Somebody's an advocate. And then the sixth layer is what you would call a confidant, somebody who's a trusted, almost like family type customer. You know, the kind of customer that you can say, hey, does this work for you? And they can honestly say, no, it could be better, or, you know, maybe you should try this, or, you know, that kind of level of insider confidant type situation. And those are rare people. And you have to prove yourself to them, but in a way they prove themselves to you as well. And all the while you're figuring out, who are these people? Can I trust them? And then can they trust me? You know, am I going to be consistent and faithful? So that's all great, except that still doesn't give you a scalable business online, because the other thing you have to factor into the whole equation is the frequency of purchasing. So when we were selling doll clothes at $300 or $400, you know, an outfit, those customers, or our ability to produce, you know, that's a once a month type situation. Well, you know, for the first 2 years, we only made $12,000 a year. I mean, our annual sales were like, you know, $1,000 a month. So the frequency is a key part, and you have to have a product category that actually works in frequent, you know, kind of mental triggers for customers. And what we learned was patterns, digital downloaded patterns, are something that customers will buy every week. And so that's kind of how we've approached the idea of finding our way to getting repeat customers. Yeah. Sorry, was that way too long an answer?
No, that was
Edit all that out if you want to.
Yeah. No, I think that's really good. One of the things I was taking notes the whole time, but one of the things I really loved was about the frequency. The very last thing you said, just like, you know, one of the things that I've struggled with is I love, you know, selling Star Wars on eBay. That's just, it's one of the things I enjoy. But if it's a, you know, 1977 Luke Skywalker toy, I'm not going to be able to reproduce that 100 times.
Yep.
But if I've created a following, when I do, there's the frequency, and just taking all the, you know, the six steps that you just said, I think that there's an amazing ability to scale your business. I know we've been talking on the Online Empire Academy about diversifying yourself, and I think that this is a huge way to do it. One of the questions I wanted to ask was, how do you take your eBay business and then translate that to an online community?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, we were on eBay before it cratered, in a way, for people's like kind of love and enthusiasm for it, and we still love it. I mean, we still do the same thing on eBay that we did 7 years ago, and it still works the same way. But a lot of people's enthusiasm has declined, you know, in terms of selling. But it does offer you a few pieces that work, and part of it is about creating a brand that creates a meaningful, lasting impression in the minds of the customer. And, you know, I mean, I call this the platform as provider effect. And it's something that you have to guard against. And some platforms are worse than others, or better than others, about allowing you to create a bond with the customer. So, for example, on eBay, you can sell something and create a brand, and you can have an About Me page, and you say who you are and your brand, and you have your logo. And people know, hey, this is a thing. But a lot of times, if you buy a craft item, you ask somebody where they got it, or you know, they say they got something online, and so like a scarf or a hat or something like that, you'll hear them frequently say, oh, I got it on Etsy. Yeah. And anytime you hear somebody say that and they insert a platform, that's what I call the platform as provider effect. And as a seller, as a brand builder, it's not that you have to always run for the hills away from that. You just have to understand that that's occurring. Yeah. So we don't sell on Amazon. much at all. I mean, we don't sell our core product. We actually sell shoes on Amazon with my son, but that's a totally different arbitrage type thing. So it's, but the core of our brand, we wanted people to bond with. And so we converted them straight from eBay onto our own website. And for 5 years, we figured out how to grow our own website. And that is Pixie Fair is that marketplace now. And so we've had, this year so far, we've had about 35,000 customers flow through that.
Wow.
And so that's kind of, you know, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we look at it is, you know, you've got to have a place where your brand can become something customers bond with, you know?
Yeah.
So
How do you do this? Just a really practical question. How do you do that within the eBay marketplace? Like, are you putting letters in the boxes? Are you, you know, how do you get people to go to your actual site?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple tried and true methods. You can have a listing that prominently features your brand. And, you know, I mean, if you're selling someone else's product, it's harder than if you're selling your own product, right? So it's going to be hard to do if you're selling Star Wars action figures, although you'd position yourself as a store or, you know, a trusted partner for the Star Wars collector community or something like that. And, you know, you'd have your own brand. But, you know, so that's the challenge, but you want a listing that prominently features your brand. Now, you know, so for our listings, and I'm happy to send a link to one of our older auctions if you want to see how we do this in our templates, but we try to have a super, super extensive template that is well written, and it's basically like a long form landing page. And it's always talking about the one-of-a-kind outfit from Liberty Jane Clothing. And we have a very serious About Me paragraph in every listing. And then we have the About Me page that tells our whole story. So somebody and what's miraculous for us is if we have an auction running, and it's like, they always end at 6 o'clock on Sunday night, Pacific time. Yeah. So if we have an auction running and you look in the doll clothes category, or dolls and teddy bears, you'll see like an item being sold, buy it now for $6, you know, no bids, nothing happening. You'll see the next one down, you know, an auction for 99 cents, no bids. And the whole page is like that. And then you'll see us with 60 bids and $299 item, and there's 6 minutes left. That is like a miraculous social proof event. And when people see it, they're like, who is this? How are they doing this? Yeah. Even our competitors want to watch it because, like, how do you pull that off? So, you know, that's how it works. You have to have social proof, and you have to have a brand that people can resonate with and identify. Yeah.
I love that. And I think that the fear as online sellers is I can't have a brand, or I can't do something like that because I don't have just one specific product. Yeah. But, you know, in talking with Brett, because that's a conversation I've had with Brett several times, is how do I do this and create a brand out of thousands of different products? But I think one of the things,
I got an answer for you, but I'm interested to know his answer.
Yeah, no, like one of the things he said was, you know, try to niche down as much as possible, but also follow the things that bring you joy, I think is the best advice that he gave to me. Yeah. And so for me, it was going down to, you know, I love record players and I love Star Wars. And so, you know, I have 2 separate eBay pages, and you know, I've tried to niche down as much as possible, but yeah, I'd love to hear what your answer is too, because I just want to learn how to do this better.
You want a product that you can have as many copies or items, you know, have quantity available. You want a product that has near zero marginal cost, meaning it doesn't take anything to make it. You want a product that you can easily refine and tweak. You want a product that you could sell into the millions of. You want a product that's complementary to what you do. And everything I just described, you might understand as an information product. So, you know, if you're selling Star Wars action figures to Star Wars collectors, you know, not the brand new movie stuff on Amazon, but you're selling the, you know, 70s nostalgia stuff, you're selling to hardcore collectors. Would they like a collector's guide to blah blah? Would they like, you know, the complete Bible, you know, the Star Wars action figure Bible? Would they like, you get it? I mean, like on and on, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you could literally write an info product about every character in Star Wars and have that be a standalone, you know, the Bible on Han Solo action figures. So as soon as you start to couple info products with your niche, you've got a recipe for a real interesting, you know, product, because you can create those all day long, you know.
That's so cool.
And
do you sell, so let's say I've made the action figure Bible. Do you then sell that on your eBay page?
Well, so if I were you, I mean, the most powerful thing you can do is create some info products that what people would refer to as ethical bribes. And you use the ethical bribe to get an email address. And so, you know, it's not hard in your listing to say, if you like Han Solo action figures, be sure to get a copy of my Han Solo. And I don't know, fair use is an issue as it comes to writing books, but, you know, you have to worry about trademark usage, you know, kind of stuff, intellectual property issues with naming. But anyway, so you'd work through that, but there are legal ways to do it. And then you'd say in your listing, if you like this item, you'll love the, you know, complete Han Solo Bible, action figure Bible or whatever.
Yeah.
And be sure to check my website to get it. And, you know, you can't have a direct link, and eBay has rules. Yeah. But in general, that's the thought. And when we went for 18 months on eBay and had on our, because we had a store, so we could have a store email list, and we had 125 names. But as soon as that was all. So, but as soon as we set up our own website and started creating patterns as digital goods, we started collecting hundreds of names. And now we're at about 51,000 on our list. And so, you know, and that's how it works. Same thing. I'm doing the same thing in the So Powerful charity space in a different context, which I don't think we have time to explain. But the information product opportunity is there for you, and that's the lesson I learned from Jim Cockrum in 2009. It's changed our whole life, you know. So
that's so cool. Well, for somebody, you know, my favorite part of the show is always asking some top tips. What is it that I'm wanting to go start this, you know, the Han Solo guide? What are some top tips to getting started?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. If you want to get started with info products, then I think the first thing you've got to do is overcome some mental barriers and sort of emotional resistance to the idea. First of all, a lot of infopreneurs are making a lot of money without doing what you might consider the normal Kindle ebook. You know, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that's the answer for, you know, a lot of people who want to get into this space. We don't sell any of our sewing patterns on Amazon except in a CD form, and I'm not sure those are even listed, but it's not how we do it. So you got, and then you've got to overcome the issue of, I can't do this. I'm not a writer. You know what I mean? But if you're a passionate enthusiast of a topic, you know, like tons more than the average person. And, you know, you always have to work through, am I expert enough? But one trick to get around that is just to simply go find the experts. If there's a noted expert on Han Solo action figures on the internet, tell him you're writing a book and ask him to be interviewed in it. And then you've got an ally, and he won't be a critic. And you've got great content. And you'll validate whether you know as much as you think you do, because you'll hear that guy's stuff. So, you know, when I first wrote Pinterest Power, that was my first book with McGraw-Hill. I went and found about a dozen people who were crushing it on Pinterest and interviewed them. And as soon as I got their stuff, I was like, all right, not only do I know enough to write this book, I had some tips, which were cool, but mostly it was good content that I could use to fill out the book. And in a way, validation. And then obviously the social proof of having some notable people in the book. So that's sort of a trick. And, even if you're not sure you want the final form, whether it's a traditionally published book or an ebook, you could go do those interviews anyway. You know what I mean? Just go find those people. It might help you take a little baby step towards completing the project. Yeah.
Oh, so good. This is so good for my brain because, I spin with ideas all the time, and I want to create stuff all the time. But I think you're totally right. There's a fear factor in it, and I know for our community and for you guys listening, like there's so many of you out there who have spectacular ideas or know so much about something totally random you think would never matter, but that one item, there's a group of people who are dedicated to it. Exactly what you're saying. There's a group of people who absolutely love Han Solo or absolutely love Boba Fett, and it's like they're dedicated to that, and you may be the resource they've been looking for. So I love it.
Well,
Thank you so much.
No, yeah, exactly right. I was just going to say, the beautiful part about self-publishing is when you have to overcome that mental barrier to say this is good enough. When Reid Hoffman is the founder of LinkedIn, and he was an early PayPal guy, he's famous for saying, if your first product isn't embarrassing to you, you've waited too long to ship it. So, but the beautiful part about self-publishing is you can revise and edit. Customer gives you feedback. Hey, you got a typo on page 4. This sucks. I'm like, okay, well, it doesn't suck tomorrow because I just fixed it. So, and if you get an expert that says you're totally wrong about Boba Fett's backstory, blah, 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 ask if you can quote them. I mean, it's just like include it in the content. So that's the beautiful part of self-publishing is it's almost, you can iterate so quickly, compared to traditionally published books. So.
Very, very cool. I love it. Well, are there any ending words of wisdom?
Yeah, I'd say keep going further down the rabbit hole. Like when we started this doll clothes thing, and most people who hear it, they're like, is that really a thing? Can you actually make money off that? Doll clothes patterns? It's not even the clothes, actually, just the digital patterns. The thing about it is almost like 1 billion people are going to be coming online in the near future. Google and all the companies are racing to figure out how to get another 1 billion people online. Any topic or niche that you think you have a passion for, there's something there in terms of the ability to aggregate a community and find out how to serve them.
Yeah.
And so, I think a lot of people who are trying to sell online and who are failing to think deeply enough about their core topic, issue, or passion, and how to actually find a workable product strategy in that space. Now, some stuff just isn't going to work, but there are a whole lot of places where, shiny object syndrome and as Dan Miller, the guy who wrote the 48 Days to the Work You Love, has said, people chase the rabbits. But if you'll just stop and say, no, I'm going to obsess over this one idea for a year or two, might feel like a failure for now, but I'm going to figure out how to make a marketplace, a community, a product, a service out of this topic. I think the deep thinking involved in that will be profitable if you'll take the time to do it. So I guess that would be my best advice is just, think harder about how to bring your passion and enthusiasm into the lives of other people in a creative way.
I love it. That's perfect. Well, Jason, thank you so much for being on. I so appreciate it. I've gotten, my notes are full over here. So thank you so much.
One parting comment, if you're interested in the topic, just, I guess this is a sales job moment. Jim Cockerman and I did put out the Proven Self-Publishing course, and he sells it on his website, provenselfpublishing.com. It's available, and I don't even know what it's priced at right now, but it's not very much money. It's been $47 for quite a while, but it's tons of resources, tons of videos. I go through everything from Kindle platform to building your own website to sell on, Audible, CreateSpace, publishing on demand, all of the topics. It's a pretty good resource for this type of thing. So to the extent that's helpful, cool.
Totally, absolutely. And if you could give us some of the sites? I know you had talked about your wife's doll clothing. If they want to go check out that, what is that called?
LibertyJaneClothing.com.
Okay.
And then all the patterns we sell in the marketplace is pixiefair.com. That's a platform that's built on the Shopify platform.
Cool.
And then you can follow me on Twitter, Mr. Jason Miles, or on Instagram at Mr. Jason Miles. There was another Jason Miles, so I had to be Mr.
I love it. Distinguish yourself. You're creating a brand here.
Exactly. Good times, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for being on. You guys go check it out. I'll be posting all the links in our blog and on the YouTube page. So you guys please go check it out. Until next time, Empire, enjoy your day.
Bye, guys.